Uh, Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Sharana Srivastava, your GDSC lead from GDSC Kalindi. So, if you all can hear me, please do drop a yes in the chat box. Okay, awesome. So, okay, great. I understood. Okay, you all can hear me. So today we have Akshay Hrithik sir with us here. He is a software engineer at MyEntry, and he has been uh, working with technologies like Angular, JavaScript for quite some time now. He has also been a mentor for us, GDSC Kalindi, since the day zero, the founding days of GDSC Kalindi last year, and been guiding us throughout all our events in the background. And he has also guided me in React and JavaScript. So he has plenty of experience with these. So let's start today's. Before we begin, I would like to tell you a bit about how this bootcamp is going to be. We'll be very focused on people who have just started out with programming. So we'll start with basics. So there, it might be the case that in today's session you will come across topics that will make you feel like, oh, I already know all this, right? So yeah, we'll be starting with completely from scratch, and slowly we'll build up to topics that are a bit more complex and will help you in your problem solving skills. So yeah, I'll ask Akshay to take over from here.
Yeah, Sharna, that was a really kind introduction. So, hello everyone. So, am I audible? First thing first.
Yeah, you are
Yeah.
audible.
So, I am a full stack developer. So that means I build both the front end and the back end. So I mainly work with JavaScript and I work with frameworks like Angular, React, Vue, and Node.js for backend. So I don't really use Java or C++ that often. Actually, I've not touched it in over 1 or 2 years. So, coding with you, I will start off at your level, the beginners. I'm talking to the beginners. You know how fresh you are to the programming language. I am also similarly fresh because I haven't really touched them in a long time. And as Sharina said, this is going to be a really basic introductory boot camp. So we're going to start off with what is a program. It's that basic. So today might be a little slow, but after today's session, things are going to catch up as we go into data structures and more algorithms. So, be patient with me and let's start. Yeah, I'll share my screen then.
Yeah.
All right. So as we start, I will be taking questions in between. So after I've covered sufficient amount of content, I will come back and check for questions and answer them. Is that fine with everyone?
Everyone do drop a yes in the chat box if you're all fine with that.
All right then. So let's go ahead with what is a program. So a program is, yeah, and one more thing, I'm not going to be using any slides or documents or anything. I'm just going to go with the flow, so you can you know feel free to ask me questions so that you'll be able to keep up. So first things first, what is a program? So a program is just a set of instructions that a computer follows to solve a problem. So now when we say a set of instructions and a computer has to follow them, what kind of instructions can a computer follow? Computers are really powerful, but at the same time they're like a 5-year-old kid. They don't really you tell a computer to do a big mathematical problem, it's not going to know how to do it. A computer can perform what, 5 operations mathematically. So it's your job as a programmer to break down the problems into smaller steps which the computer can understand. So your job in DSA is just to break down the problem into smaller steps and then code those steps into the program in the right sequence. So far everyone's fine with that explanation, right? I will be giving examples in code, and then I'll be reiterating this. So let's go on to a really basic program. At first, I was just testing to see if this editor works. So you know, let's start with a plus b, I guess, just to get started. I won't even take inputs. I'll just give it here. All right. See, if you run this, what happens? You're gonna get 10. Yeah, 15. You got 15. So what are you doing? Here you're basically saying you have a variable called a and a variable called b of type integer. So we will be going into what are variables and data types and all that too. And we are using this library function from C++ called cout. So the cout is basically used to output to the console. It's just console output, and we're doing our operation here. So a program can be as simple as this. You can always break down for DSA problems into such simple statements. So now the topics I will be covering today, I've just noted them down. What is the basic structure of a program? What are data types, reading inputs and displaying outputs, conditional statements, loops, and some simple programs for the beginners here. And I think I missed one topic. Let's just note it down. And operands. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead with the basic structure of a program. So start. I will just be googling stuff and showing you stuff on my screen. So I don't have any slides. I think maybe images we should be able to find something good. Yeah. So I don't think this is good. Yeah, this should do. So you have that header part, the main function, variable declaration, body, and a return statement. So I'll be covering what these are. So every single programming language comes with some standard libraries. So these libraries are present so that they help you to utilize the programming language in an easier way. Say for example, each time you had to read input or out or display output to the console, you have to write the logic to read it from the console or display to the console. That's really hectic, and it's totally unnecessary for people like us who are going to use it to solve other problems. We're not building a programming language, but we are using it. So functions that make the programming language easier for us are these libraries that come with the programming language. So first things first, you're going to be importing all of them so that you can utilize them. And the next is the main function. So the main function is the function. Okay, first, what is a function? A function is a set of lines of code which can be called repeatedly. So say you're performing the same operation 10 times. Instead of writing the code 10 times, you can make it a function and keep reusing it. So it just makes it modular and more reusable. So the main function is where the execution of your program starts. For your, say for example, you take a novel. Now you're going to read the novel. You want to make sense of the story. So from what chapter are you going to start? You're going to start from chapter 1 so that you are going to go in the right order, and the novel is going to make sense to you. So main is the first function that runs so that the program runs in the right sequence. Next is variables. So a variable is a name whose value is not constant. Here it says a is 10. Wait, I'll enlarge this for you people. Can you imagine your tab? Yeah. So here you can see a is equal to 10. So anywhere in this program, the value can be reassigned to 15, 20, whatever you want. So that is why we use variables. Variables give us that fluidity with which we can modify values really easily, but still keep track of that value because it has a constant fixed name. You can think of it like, just a block of memory is being given a name. So each time you access that name, the content of that block you're going to be fetching, but that content doesn't need to stay the same. It can change how many ever times you want. And body, it's just the logic that you're going to write. And a return statement, I will be going into it when I'm teaching functions. So this is the structure of a really basic program, and all programs have this structure only. So um, you know everyone fine with that explanation? Any doubts, we can take it up.
So, did you all understand the explanations? If yes, please do let us know. Okay, okay, awesome.
All
Yeah,
right.
I guess actually everyone understood.
Yeah, if anyone has any doubts, just write it down in the chat. We'll get back to it later as well. No issues. The next one is data types and operands. So now you can see in this place you have int and then you have main, or int and a. So that int is a data type. And what is a data type? I think I have it open here. Yeah. So our data type is basically just a keyword that you are going to be using to denote the type of data that you're going to use. Because, say for example, yeah, don't go mathematical into this, just think in pure programming terms. What is a plus a? Does anyone have an answer to a plus a? Like, does it give you a value?
2A.
No, that's mathematical. But just think of a as the value itself. A is not a variable.
That
So
will be AA.
yeah, that is when you think programmatically, a as a string. But a is something very abstract. You don't know what a is. A, you don't know the concept of number, character, string. So you just take some abstract thing called a and say a plus a. You won't know how. Like, for example, you said a, right? So that you are deducing because you think a is a string or a character. So two strings together make a combined string. So for that, you need to know what a is, right? If a is something abstract that you don't know, you won't know how to do an operation on it. Yes. So without knowing its type, you won't know how to operate on it. You could try, but you won't really be able to be 100% sure that that answer is right, So that is why you need a data type. Everyone clear with why we need a data type? So it tells you how operations are going to be performed on it and how the variable is being treated as a number or a character or a string. It's not something abstract and something that you don't know, but it is something that you can certainly say is a number or a string or a character. If people have not understood this, I could, try another kind of explanation. So feel free to say, have you
Yeah, guys,
understood?
if you understood it, please do drop a yes.
All right. So now we'll just look into a few data types. And the thing with data types are, they're not there in every single programming language. Some have been made to, implicitly make an assumption on the data type. For example, with Python or JavaScript, you don't really have a data type. If it sees a number, it's going to take it as a number. Or if it sees a string, it's going to take it as a string. That's different. But for C and C++, the ones that we are working with, data types are important. So you have a few over here. I won't be going into each and every one, but each data type can store a particular kind of value. Say for integers, it can store integer numbers. So no fractions, no decimal points. And it can only store between this value and this value. You go over it, it's not going to be able to store it because the memory capacity it has is only 4 bytes. So if you want something bigger than that, you're going to go with long. It can store a number much bigger. And if you want something bigger than long, there is a library called big big integer. So you can use big integer as well, but you won't be needing it because you're all beginners. I'm just saying. So a data type can store a particular number of value, a particular type of value, and it can also store just a limited range of values. Say for example, you take a byte, it can only store from minus 128 to 127. Or you take for example float. Yeah, float can store decimal points as well, and double is just the memory is doubled. It works like a float, but the memory is doubled. Character can store any ASCII character, say a or one or full stop or slash. Any character can be stored in that. And there are strings as well. So a string is basically this is a string. It's a collection of characters. So this is enough on data types, I assume. We can while we code, we'll get to know. So everyone fine with that? We'll go on to operands if you're all done.
Yeah, fine.
So there are many types of operations, sorry, that you can do in a computer. So to do an operation, you need an operand and an operator. Operand is the value, and operator is the function that is being applied. For example, plus. So you can do these arithmetic operations, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, increment, and decrement. So I think everyone's familiar with these four. Modulus is going to give you the remainder. Say for example, 5 divided by 4. It's going to give you a remainder of 1, right? Or 6 divided by 4, it's going to give you a remainder of 2. So that remainder you're going to be getting if you do this modulus. Increment is going to increment the value by 1. So 20 is going to become 21, minus 20 is going to become 19. So these are arithmetic operators. Then you have relational operators. This is going to be important for you people because this is used for comparison when you're going to compare two values. So just remember how these are written. These are really intuitive to make sense of. See, a equal to b means is a equal to b, it's going to return true if they're equal, false if they're not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to. Bitwise operators are I think everyone's familiar with logic gates, right? So this is the AND gate, this is OR, and this is another one, I don't really remember. Oh, XOR.
XOR and
And
NOR.
yeah, and this is not. So you won't be really using these as much as the other ones. So I'm just going ahead. So logical operators, these are again similar to the ones above, but it works on true and false. True and true is going to give you true. True and false is false. So basically that, or and not. Then assignment operators, again, equal to, you're assigning a value to it. Plus equal to, here you can see C plus equal to A is basically C is equal to C plus A. So I think these are all fairly easy. I think people should be knowing this by now. And yeah, this is a tertiary operator. Just go through all of this when you have time. It's not really that important for this class. So this is on operators and operands. So everyone fine?
I would just like to add one thing that if anyone is feeling confused about these operators at this point, so do not worry. You will need to read on it by yourself as well, although we will be explaining them as the topic comes. So, yeah, we'll be sharing resources related to these with everyone who registered through the form.
All right, then let's move on to the next one. Reading input and displaying output. So this is really specific to the programming language you're going to be using, but so say for example, you see this small program that I've written. The main flaw in this program is A and B are never going to change. They have been given this value of 5 and 10. So every time I run this, it's going to add 5 and 10. It's not going to do anything else. So that's why you're going to be reading input from this console and you're going to be displaying your output to the console so that your program is a little more dynamic and it can do a little, it can perform well. For example, think of my work now. I'm not going to be displaying the same enterprise application every single time, right? So the application is going to be looking different to every user. Say for example, an admin logs in, the application is going to look different, and a normal user logs in, it's going to look different. So your application has to be dynamic. So you are not going to be hard coding any values most of the time. I mean, there may be situations, but a dynamic program is a good program. So I'm going to show you how to read input in C and then display the outputs. Display I've already seen here, I assume. So you're going to use Cin for C++, console input, or you can even take inputs like this, I think. And again, C out is for output. This is C++. Let's just run this. So say for example 3, and I'm going to give 6, and it's going to give me 9. So this is how input output. For Java, oh, they've already done this here. Okay, that's good. Let's run this, see if it works. I think this online compiler isn't great. Oh, I have to give an input. Okay. All right. So here, this is Java. Java is a little different from C++. I'll try to brief you really quickly, but I think your GDSC is going to teach you a little bit of Java. I'm not really sure. Sharanya?
Yeah, we'll be taking extra sessions to help you get familiar with the syntax of Java and C++ as well. So yeah, we'll be informing you about all those on your emails.
So I'll just give you a really quick run through how we included that library called IOStream in C++. We are getting java.util.star. The star means get everything from this package util. And here a class is basically, you can think of it as a complex data type. I think you'll learn more about that later, but we won't really go into all of that. So here, to read input from Java, you will be needing to create an object of the scanner. So you're going to say scanner, this is the type, then the variable name is equal to new, this is to initialize an object, and this scanner constructor, you're going to call it, you're going to get this object called SC. So now you can use this to, read input. So when you say, when I'm reading a string, right, you just need to say this variable is equal to sc.next. So it's going to take the next value from the console, and it's going to assign it to name, and then we're just printing it out using system.out.println. So here they're saying, this is a string saying name plus name. So, here also we can do the same, saying, sum. So this is just to make the output more readable. You'll get to know these as we go more into our programs. So everyone's fine with, reading input and displaying the output, right?
Yeah, if anyone is not able to understand, please let us know in the chat box.
Mhm. Looks like they don't have switch. Fine. So now, say for example, you are writing a program to determine which student passed an exam and which student failed an exam based on the marks. We'll just code this down then. Int marks, and we'll do cn marks, and then we'll do if marks greater than equal to 35, then we're gonna do cout pass, and else cout fail. All right, let's run this. Say I enter 34, fail, enter 56, it passes. So as you can see, whatever is inside an if block or an else block runs conditionally. So this is a condition. So marks greater than equal to 35 is gonna return true or false. So now whenever this value is true, this if state, whatever is inside this if can run, it can have multiple lines of code, those are gonna run. But if this is false, it's just going to run whatever is inside this else block. So say you have multiple conditions. So you can use what's called an else if. I'm just gonna write else if, and you can write another condition. Marks equal to 0. Oh no, that won't work. Why won't this work? Because 0 is not greater than equal to 35 at all. So it's always, it's always going to go into this. This is never gonna run. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna say, if you put this statement up here, then things other than 0 are gonna pass here, and then I'll show you both of them, I guess. And marks not equal to 0. So here you can see we're using one logical operator. So it's both are going to be true. It's going to go inside. If not, it's going to come here. Yeah. Rethink your life. Okay. Let's see how this one works. Let's enter 0. Rethink your life. Let's enter a fail condition, say 33. It fails. So what if I didn't add this? I'll do a control X. Now I need to save it. So now I'm going to enter 0. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, this condition is actually correct because 0 is not greater than or equal to 35. This is going to fail and this is going to run. So what if my code was like this? Less than 35. I'm going to say fail. Now here I'm going to say you pass. So now I'm going to run this. I'm going to enter 0 again. It says fail. It never comes to this condition because it always passes in this. So here, if I add that extra piece of code, see what happens. Now I say 0. Did it not save? Mm-hmm. 0 is less than 35. 0 is not equal to 0. So it should be failing. I don't know what's happening. I really don't know how to use this editor, but all right, we'll get back to this. Oh, actually, oh, damn it, I'm so sorry. This is how it should work, right? It should say rethink your life. How do I exit this debug mode? Yeah, so 0 should say rethink your life. If this is not present, it should say fail. So I'm just doing this so that you get a clear idea of how easily you could go wrong with these things, You should really be coding your conditional statements, with a lot of consideration, because you never know. You could put a condition that might pass on the above condition, but you write another specific condition in between, so it's never going to go into the specific condition. So just keep just do it with a lot of, what's the word, caution. So this is one conditional statement. If if else, if else. So you can run if conditions without else if or else as well. This is still going to work, but whenever marks are greater than 35, it's never going to give us anything. You can have just an else, or you can have an else if as well. And you can also stop with just else if. You don't need an else as well. So you're completely free to work with it however you want. Any doubts in if, else if, and if else?
If it is clear, everyone, please do drop a yes.
All right. So I'm going really slow and really detailed so that the beginners can really, understand and they feel comfortable programming. So I
Yeah.
know I know a lot of you already know all of this. So I'm just, going baby pace in case someone needs it. The next one is switch. So a switch statement is basically, so I'm gonna get my marks again. All right. So a switch, I need another variable. I can use marks directly, and this can be my choice. Switch marks. Case 35. See out. It's a really bad example to use for now switch case, but I'm just going ahead. I'll give you a better example. All right, this looks good. So as you can see, a switch statement, what it does is it takes in a choice variable. So this 35 that I have passed is going to go as a choice, and if the value that is in marks is 35, this part of the code is going to run, and I'm breaking. So this break is really important. So what if I don't have a break? So what a break essentially does is it's going to run this part of the code, and it's going to break out of this switch condition. It's going to bring the control out of this switch condition to the next line. So what if I don't have this break? See what happens. Pass fail. So it runs this code, and then it it immediately runs every single case under it until it encounters a break. So make sure to have breaks. I'll make this. All right. So now whatever choice is going to come, it's going to match with each case. So if it matches the case, it's going to execute this code, it's going to break out. If it matches 34, it's going to execute this code, and it's going to break out. If nothing matches, it's going to run this default. We'll just have a look at that. Say 34, fail, 33, and match any of the options. So that's a switch statement for you. So with this, the conditional statements are done. Any doubts so far? No. You just need to check for while and do while. Okay. So let's do this in Java. We've done enough C++. I'm gonna keep one of these just for, let's have a name. Let's read the name as well. And let's say how many times. Wait, I don't want to work with a string and a, let's just go with, let's print 1 to 10 in a sequence. That should be good enough. So I'm going to say int limit I'm going to say int limit I'm just going to write a for loop and show you guys. This is going to print natural numbers from 1 to whatever limit we want. So let's say limit is 10, and we're going to run this. What is the problem? Might not have been initialized. Yeah, we haven't read this. So we need to read this. Limit is equal to sc.next. So yeah, one more thing, error messages are really good. Don't hate error messages. They tell you where, you know, the program has gone wrong. So be sure to read your error messages. They can help you fix your errors really quick. So here you can see it prints out. So we could have done this like, you could have taken the limit and you could have written in if condition, like if limit, if limit is greater than 1, print 1. If limit is greater than or equal to 1, print 1. If limit is greater than or equal to 2, print 2. So you would have written an infinitely long code to print, you know, infinitely. So, I could even print 1,000 numbers with just these 3 lines of code. So whenever you're doing something repetitive, go for loops. So how a for loop works is, this section is for initialization. This is the variable that is going to be it's going to be looped on. So you're going to give its initial value and you're going to define an exit condition. So until and unless I is less than or equal to the limit, run whatever is inside this for loop. And this is the increment or decrement. This is where you're modifying the value of I. So here I'm saying, after you've done this, come here and increase the value of I by 1. So the flow is, first this is going to run, then the second one is going to run, then whatever is inside the for loop is going to run, and then at last this one's going to run. So that's a for loop. So you see this, I run 1000 numbers have been printed. So instead of writing 1000 if conditions or if else if, this is really easier, right? So any doubts with for loop? All right, if any doubts, just note it down and someone will tell me that there's a doubt. All right, so next one is a while loop. So when are you going to use a for loop? You're going to be using a for loop when you're doing things in steps. When you're doing things in step of 1, here see, so the step is 1. Each and every iteration is going to depend on this value I, which is increasing in a step of 1. But when you don't really have steps, but an exit condition is gonna be there anyway, you're gonna go for a while loop. So a while loop, I really cannot give you a while specific example, but I'm going to do the same thing. While limit greater than 0, let's say the same one. And here I'm just going to make another integer called time. I is equal to 1. Here I'm going to go and print I again. And we're going to say I plus plus and limit minus minus. So this is also going to print numbers again. This isn't really the best example to show you why to use while, but it works. So now, how does this work? So this condition, until and unless this condition becomes false, right? Whatever is inside this while is going to keep running. So you can just write while and you can have a condition and whatever code you want and something that works on this condition to bring it closer to the exit condition. So this is a while loop. So I'll show you a do while loop as well. Control X. Yeah. Undo. This is a do while loop. I'll tell you the difference between this one and a while loop. This one works So now, say I have zero. Oh, I should have kept the while loop. Okay, I'll show you guys in a bit. So say I run zero, see what happens. My output is one, right? My output is one, even though the limit was zero. So let's just see what happens to this when it's a while loop. All right, let's see what happens when we run this. I'll just remove this. It did not output anything. So it never even entered this because it first checked the condition. Limit was not greater than zero. It never went in, the program stopped. But if you see a do while loop, what happens is you're first saying do this. You're first running this and then you're checking the condition. So it runs one time, even if the condition is never true. It runs once. So that's why it outputs 1. So these are for loops. We're done with loops as well. So any doubts so far? We'll wind up fairly quickly. We are almost done. It's been a long session, right?
So if everyone understood, please do drop a yes.
If the chat remains this quiet, I'm gonna haunt your dreams tonight with DSA questions.
No, I guess they understood, so they won't really be haunted.
No, I'm not gonna haunt people who haven't understood, but people who remain quiet. All right, so let's go with a few basic DSA questions. So your lead has said that CodeChef is really a good platform for beginners to start coding. So
Yeah. Mhm.
I've not really used CodeChef or HackerRank or anything as much when I really should have. So I would rate myself as an intermediate person in DSA. I'm not really an expert, but this is something that you gotta learn and keep learning all your life. Even when you get a job, right? You guys have to keep doing DSA so that you can get better opportunities.
Yeah, and
So
also CodeChef has those ranking and star system where you get ratings, and based on that you get 1 star, 2 stars. So like it helps you stay consistent. So that is why we asked for everyone's CodeChef profile as well. And if you were not able to make a profile, we would suggest that just go to CodeChef.com and just sign up there like you do on any social media platform. That would be enough. Because
these
yeah,
go
all
on, go on.
the assignments we'll be giving throughout the next 3 weeks will also be on CodeChef itself mostly. So yeah, it will help you out a lot.
So these ratings are really good for you. They are going to do wonders on your resume. And whenever you're going for a job interview as well, right? I've interviewed for a few places so far, and in every single interview, DSA is a must. You won't even get to talk to a person until you pass the DSA round. It's gonna be online, right? So you go. The first thing you're gonna see is some aptitude questions on DSA. So unless you're able to clear it, you won't be able to move forward. And the thing is, the DSA questions that most companies ask are going to be in the easy range. From CodeChef, if you see, the easy questions are only going to come, not even medium. Medium is really rare. I think even really big companies ask medium questions. They don't really ask hard questions, and medium ones are really tough to solve. I'll be honest. So let's go on to CodeChef. I've not really used it as much, so you can say I'm just a 1 star person. I've not really used it, even though I've made an account. I've really never had the time to use it because of work. So, the lead suggested that we start with this really beginner friendly section here, and we're going to do the last three questions. Yeah.
Also,
So,
we'll be sharing the link to these particular questions on CoachChef that are, CoachChef has a specific series for self-learning where you can build upon your problem-solving skills in a stepwise manner. And also, like, there are different sections. One is for zero-star coders, then there is one for one-star coders, two-star coders. So we'll be sharing the links to all those after today's session ends so that you guys can also start exploring.
and I think there's a prize for the best performer as well, right? Not
Yeah, after the
sure.
3 weeks, there will be a coding contest as well. I was going to come on that later.
Oh,
So
sorry.
yeah,
I
no,
ruined
that's
the
all right. So
surprise. Yeah.
no, it's all right. So yeah, there will be prizes for people who will consistently be working in these 3 weeks and then perform well in the contest.
Let's not give away too much info. We'll just solve one, two or three really simple questions. So, they give you a problem statement like this, but it is helpful to read it, but don't really focus on this. So that's why I really picked this question, because the problem statement is really misleading. See, this person likes the number 4, and the number has a lot of properties. It is the smallest composite number, the smallest Smith number. They've given a lot of facts about 4, but these aren't really relevant to the question at all. So if you waste your time wondering what is a Smith number or a composite number, or why it is non-cyclic, you're going to be wasting your time instead of solving the core of the problem. So let's see. They've given a lot of useless facts, then leave it. And see, impressed by the power of this number, she begins to look for the occurrences of 4. Here you have t integers, each of them in, okay. You see, you can just read through it once, but it's not that important. See, here, the first line of the input consists of a single integer t, denoting the number of integers in this person's list. And then t lines are given that contain a single integer from the list. Okay. So now you can see here, the output is each of these lines should contain the number of occurrences of the digit 4 in the respective integer from this person's list. So this is all you needed to solve it. But sometimes reading this is really helpful because it helps you understand, but you don't need to be very nitpicky and go through every single line. As you can see here, this part is completely useless. So now this is from an interview point of view, because you'll be given 45 minutes to solve 2 questions, I think. I don't remember. So here you can see a sample input. This is T5. So you're going to get 5 numbers. You're going to count the number of 4s in each of these, and you're going to output it. It's that simple. I think we can solve it. So I'll solve one in C++ and one in Java. Mhm. Oh, they've already given the solution. Hmm. They've already given the solution. Okay, we'll solve it again. I just wanted to see something. So the input, it's going to go up to 10 to the power 5. Keep an eye on this. And you see an integer. It has 3, 4, 5. So an integer is more than enough. So they used different data type. We don't really need it, so we are going to stick to the ones we know. So here, so I'm just going to say, and what about the other one as well? N can be till 10 to the, okay, yeah, so subtask is 10 to the power 9. So do we really need to use something else? I think a long should be sufficient. Yeah, long should be sufficient. Mhm. All right. So let's just stick to long then. So I'll say long P and N. I'm gonna say while I'm decrementing, while the test case is greater than 0. So this is a post decrement. That means for now the value is going to be t. Next time we come here, it's going to be t minus 1. And the time after that, t minus 2. So that's what it is. So we're just going to try to find the number of n 4 in each of these. So this is a number. This is not a string. So you can't just go like this and, compare this, and this. So one thing that we could do is we could just use this same um, n sorry int lem is equal to n modulo 10. So what a modulo 10 is going to do is it's going to take this last number out. So you're going to get 4 each time you do modulo 10. So now what we're going to do after that, we don't want 4 every single time. So you're going to say n. Oh, first we need to read n. So cn of n. We're going to say n is equal to n by n. So that this last digit that we already read gets truncated. So since this is integer division, you're not going to have any points, right? Since if you see, we're using long and not float or double. So if you use float or double, points are going to remain. Since there are no points, this is fine. This works. So now what we can do is if remainder equal to 4, and we can also have another in, no, I'll make it long. Count is equal to 0 and the count plus plus. And I need another while loop here because while n not equal to 0. And where does that end? It comes down here. Then I'm gonna say out count and L. I'm guessing this should work. Let's try with the custom input. Submitting takes quite a bit of time, so I'm just going to run the custom inputs. So you put your input here and you run it. So what happened? Here's the output. Okay. Why didn't we get an output? So you got to debug stuff a lot of time. So consoling and using system.out.println is really helpful. You can see this works, but we are never going into this loop. Why aren't we going into that loop? Okay, why don't we try this? And we're gonna do t minus minus. Is that the issue? I think our input is wrong. It's 5, right? Oh, we are never reading this. So CN. Okay, let's see this now. We should be getting it. 40110, and the output was 40110. So how did we do this? We basically just, we are taking the number of test cases, and then for each and every test case we are doing this. So this we can, this is better looking code. Don't have unnecessary lines of code. So you're just saying after each time it runs, just decrement t by 1. We come here, we're gonna read n for each and every one of these. So you're reading this, and what are you doing? You're saying while it is not equal to 0, remainder is equal to n modulo 10. So even if you do the division, you know um, manually, what is 81 divided by 10? The remainder is going to be 1. So you're going to get 1. You're going to store that 1 in rem. And what is 81 by 10? It is supposed to be 8.1, but since it is integer division, that 0.1 gets truncated and you have 8. So these two lines basically just removes the last digit and then makes the number smaller by removing the last digit completely. So for each of these, then you just check if the last digit is 4, increase count plus plus. You're going to do it until the number ceases to exist, and finally you're going to be outputting this count. So this is that program. Everyone clear with this? Any doubts? You see, I didn't really um, practice any of this, so you can see how I coded, right? I wasn't I made mistakes. You'll also make mistakes. So based on these mistakes, you just need to be able to figure out why it wasn't working. See, I didn't read this at all. So when I saw see what happened here, I didn't read this, and what did I do? I did C out of P. What happened? I got 0, but then my input says 5 and the value is 0. So based on that, I was able to understand that I never even read the value. So these out console outputs are really helpful for debugging, and break it down into steps. See, this is the one and only step that was required to solve this program, and you have to repeat the step these many number of times. That's all. So DSA is this easy. Once you're able to break down a problem into smaller steps, repeat it if required, conditionally repeat it if required, and finally give the output. So I think one program should be enough for today. From the next class, I think we will be jumping into data structures, and that class is tomorrow. So yeah, feedback is welcome.
Yeah, so if you guys like today's session, please let us know in the chat box. And if you think we could improve on it in any way, feedback is always welcome.
If you couldn't understand me for any reason, you could reach out. I'll change my approach for you.
Yes, I think Sai Kumar is saying something. So yeah, it's not actually a contest. This is just I'll share the links with everyone. Don't worry about it. It is more like a space in CodeChef itself where it's called the self-learning thing. It's you can even find it in the
I'll
nav
I'll
bar.
just show you here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you go to CodeChef, go to learn, go to self-learning, and scroll down, and we were
Yeah,
doing
you
this
can
getting
see them all.
started.
Mm-hmm.
Here you have 10. Yeah, here you go. You have 10 programs here.
So there are different tracks here. Getting started track, 1 star to 2 star track, 2 star to 3 star track, like that. So you can do them in a particular, like in the given sequence itself, because I myself have tried these and I found them amazing. They start with the very very basic level, and slowly you won't even realize how much you have learned just after doing 15 to 20 problems, you'll feel like, oh, I improved a lot.
But if you think you are, fine with the basics and you can directly jump into some questions, directly go to this 1 to 2 stars. But if you feel like you're a beginner, go to these 10, right?
Yeah, and make sure you all do register on CodeChef because we will be keeping a track of everyone's, uh, like how you all are doing on CodeChef. So keep practicing, everyone, and I guess then we'll meet tomorrow at the same time, and all the details will be shared with you on your emails as well as on our socials. Can Akansha or Arpita, can anyone share our social links here in case someone has not joined it yet?
And one last word from me: if today felt really slow, just hang around because the basics are done. Directly, we're going to move into data structures, and after that, we'll be going into a few searching, sorting algorithms, and we would even solve a few moderately difficult problems. The amount of problems you're going to get totally depends on the crowd. If everyone's understanding and everyone progresses quickly, we're going to go into more difficult stuff. So as the 3 week bootcamp goes on, I strongly encourage you guys to keep learning so that you can learn more.
Yeah, and also we just shared the link to our socials in the chat box. So yeah, do follow all the links given there. You'll find our WhatsApp, Telegram, LinkedIn, everything there, and we update everything in all those places. So even if you follow just one of those, it would be great. And we are really happy to see that so many of you stayed until the very end. And thank you so much for coming, everyone. The attendance for everyone was taken through an automated extension. So yeah, do join our Discord. Thanks for reminding, Akansha. Oh yeah, attendance was already taken. The moment you joined in, it was already recorded. So don't worry about that. Yeah, we will be keeping a track of that. The moment you join and leave, we will be having a record of that. So yeah, do join our Discord and drop it doubts there. Our team will be always ready to help you out with your doubts. We have a lot of people here who are good at DSA and they'll help you out in case you get stuck while solving any problems. So do post them all on Discord. Thank you everyone for coming today and see you all tomorrow evening.